don't have to go back to that room. You do not have to stay in the courthouse. You are welcome to remain in the courtroom if you'd like. Okay, and watch your step in. Thank you very much. Next witness.
Commonwealth calls for Ellis Rawls.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truthful, truth, and nothing but the truth?
Please take the witness stand, sir. Watch your step, and you can adjust the chair and microphone as you need. You may proceed.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you please tell us your name?
I'm Ellis Rawls.
Mr. Rawls, just a quick reminder that we're not using the names of any children today in court. We'll use initials in place of that. Mr. Rawls, in January of 2023, how were you employed?
I was a school counselor
Where?
at New Plymouth Public School at Richneck Elementary.
All right. And how long had you, as of the January 2022 or 2023, I'm sorry, how long had you been at Richneck?
It probably would have been, between that time, it would have been like a year and a half,
Okay.
not quite 2 years.
And during the course of your time at Richneck, did you come to know a student who we'll refer to as JT?
Yes.
And in the course of your duties, did you receive an assignment related to JT?
Yes. In his second year at Richneck, I was assigned to kind of be like his one-to-one within a set schedule.
How did that assignment come about, if you know?
I don't recall in its entirety. I do believe that originally, because he was having some issues, they were trying to put a plan in place to help him to adjust him to the school and be more productive. So I believe the administration came with a plan up, and the administration needed to help him out within that plan.
Tell us how, if you could, just describe for the jury how the one-on-one assignment worked. What did you do?
Well, in the morning when he got off the bus or was dropped off, I would proceed to have like a morning session with him, kind of set goals and plans for him in the morning. He would then go to one of the, I believe it was one of the SPED teachers to kind of reiterate those plans. After that, he was working with Mrs. Kovac on some, I think it was like reading assignments. She was a reading specialist at that time. And then after her time was up, I would come back, retrieve him, and I would take him to the classroom. I would be with him in the classroom.
Okay. And did you ever speak to Dr. Ebony Parker regarding this assignment with JT?
From my recollection, I don't recall. I just remember this is when they were requesting that.
Okay. Do you know of any behavior issues that JT exhibited?
Yeah, his first year there, he exhibited a variety of different behavioral issues where he was out of the classroom or taken out of the classroom for whatever case may be, but it varied from time to time.
Okay. Mr. Rawls, do you know what an SST is?
Yes.
Okay, what is that? Can you tell us?
That was a student support team. It was basically a process or a program to put in place to help to assist him in trying to, once again, be more productive in his school system.
And did the SST plan involve regular meetings?
Yes.
Did JT have an SST plan?
They were in the process of moving forward with SST because I believe they were trying to transition that SST into more like an IEP, which is like a more specialized support system for students, and it was called the SPED system.
Okay. And who all was involved in the SST process for JT?
I was currently at the time under Newport News Public Schools, the policies, counselors were one of the main people that ran the SST process. Administration would be involved when available and things of that nature, but it was more so put on the responsibility of the counselors.
Okay.
To coordinate the SST meetings.
And so at those SST meetings, who would typically attend JT's SST meetings?
It would be either the principal, the AP, myself, or another counselor at the time, a parent, and if they had any advocates that would willing to be part of the meeting, that's how kind of group of people would be.
Were parents and guardians of children invited to attend those as well?
Yes, of course, yes.
You've mentioned principal and AP. What's AP?
Oh, assistant principal.
Thank you. And as of JT's SST, who was the principal at the time?
During the time, the principal,
I'm sorry, I put you on the spot.
I can't remember.
Okay, do you remember who the assistant principal was at that time?
Dr. Parker was assistant principal during the SST process in that second year, yes.
Okay. Did Dr. Parker sometimes attend the SST meetings, if you know?
I believe she may have attended somebody else.
Okay. Did there come a time when you decided you no longer wanted to, or maybe that you no longer thought it was useful to have that one-on-one assignment?
Yes, because.
Hold on just a moment.
Okay, what happened? I heard something.
I object to leaving.
Object leading, okay, response.
I'll rephrase the question.
Thank you.
Did you ever decide that you did not want to continue the one-on-one relationship with JT?
As a
I'm
school council.
going to remove my objection.
Okay, same objection?
Yes, leave it.
Response?
I asked, did you ever decide that you didn't want to continue the one-on-one relationship with JT? He's already established the foundation that he had the one-on-one assignment. And did you decide, is a question he can answer yes or no. He did decide it or he didn't. I'm not suggesting which of those answers is the right one, so it's not leading.
Okay, I think the leading part is to just continue the relationship with JT. So I think the proper phrasing would be, did you decide whether or not to continue or discontinue a relationship with JT? So if you could ask that, or do you want me to just?
Go ahead, Judge, if you would like to ask the question.
Did you get the question?
Yes.
Okay, can you answer? Thank you, sir.
It wasn't really a decision of sorts. It was a request. As a school counselor at that time, I had many students that I had to serve, and I felt like it took away my opportunity to service a lot of the other students within the building. So I had a request that if I could be relieved of that duty, so I could also service the other students. Besides, I could still assist. I heard it needed to be done with JT, but I also wanted to be able to be service the other students within the building as well.
Thank you. During the time that you were working one-on-one with JT, did you experience behavior issues or witness behavior issues?
Can you repeat the question?
During the time you were working with JT, did you experience or witness behavior issues?
When we were more one-to-one, it tapered off more. He still had concerns here and there, but he knew the relationship we had, me being his one-to-one, that I would be there to help to correct or redirect a lot of his behaviors.
And what were the behaviors that you observed of JT at any point that year?
Non-compliant, defiant behavior, refusal to do work, acting out of sorts where he wasn't following directions, things of that nature.
Would those issues ever be discussed at the SST meetings?
At times, yes.
Okay. I'd like to take you to January 6th of 2023. You remember that day?
Yes.
What is the first moment that you realize something might be up with JT?
Objection, leading, assumes fact, time, and evidence.
I'll rephrase.
Yes, sir.
On that day, did you ever notice anything unusual about JT?
On that day, I didn't even really witness him that day until later, that was in that evening of the afternoon of this year.
Okay. Did you eventually become aware of a crisis that occurred that day?
It was brought to my attention that after dealing with another student, that something had took place at recess where JT apparently told another student something that
I object to hearsay, Your Honor.
So I understand it's hearsay. Let me walk through that with him. During the day on that day, did you have occasion to speak with any students?
Yes.
And were there any students who shared a concern related to JT?
Yes.
Now, without telling me what the student said, did you describe the student's demeanor, how they appeared at the moment they were telling you the information?
They were very emotional, very sad.
Okay. Again, without telling us what was said, were they referring to something they had just experienced or seen?
I wouldn't say they just experienced it, but they experienced it at an earlier time where they still holding on to whatever was stated.
Okay. And with that information, without telling me what was said, with that information, where did you go?
With that information, where I went is I went to Dr. Parker to address the allegations that I heard.
Okay. Did you ask Dr. Parker to take any action?
I didn't ask her to take any action. It was presented to me that some action was taken at a particular time with something else. And then I requested her if I could take some action.
Okay. And what action did you ask Dr. Parker to take?
I asked her if I could take action of trying to search or to check the person of JT.
And what did Dr. Parker say anything?
She responded by saying that at the time, because of the scheduling he had, his parent or parental guidance would be coming to get him so that we could hold off at that time.
Okay. The concern and the desire to search JT, did you share your concern without telling us what was said? Did you share your concern with anyone else?
The only person that's like concern, I shared my concern with is when I went back to speak to Mrs. Zorn after I spoke to Dr. Parker.
Okay. Mr. Rawls, at the time that you asked Dr. Parker for permission to search the person of JT, did you believe that you had the authority to do that without an administrator's approval?
You know, in my previous experiences, you just can't, in my position, you just can't search a student without some type of permission.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Rawls, as you sit here today, do you wish you had done differently that day?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have anything further.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wells. How are you? Good. Hopefully I won't keep it too long. So, on January 6th of 2023, you were the school counselor at Richneck, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so at some point, was it at the very beginning of the year, did you assume the responsibility of having the one-on-one contact with JT?
Not necessarily at the beginning of the year, no, sir.
Okay, but at some point you began one-on-one contact with JT, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how were your initial interactions with JT? Were they positive, or was it a challenge?
At times it could have been a challenge, but we built a rapport from the year before where it wasn't as difficult for myself.
Okay, and so over a period of time, his behaviors began to get better. Is that correct?
I would say yes.
Okay, and you were part of the SST team. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you function as the counselor as a part of that team.
Yes, counselor for it.
Okay. Would you say that you were in a pretty good position to assess how JT was doing on a given day?
I would say yes.
Okay. And would you say that you had more contact or less contact with JT than Mrs. Kovac, the reading specialist?
I would say we probably had about the same amount.
About the same amount of time? Okay. And at some point, you indicated that you requested less one-on-one time with JT.
Yes.
But it didn't sound like it was because he was doing better, but it's because you wanted to be able to help more students at the time. Is that correct?
Yeah, from my standpoint, my point of view is to be able to be more accessible to students with
Okay.
Okay, if you could speak up and tap that microphone, let me see if it's on. Okay, talking to it so that the reporter can get your words down. Thank you. So if you repeat your answer.
Oh. Can you repeat the question?
So you got to a point where you were spending less time with JT. The motivation for that was to be able to spend more time helping, I guess, more students,
Yes.
more people than just JT. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, and I know we're hearing that mechanical speaking now. We think it's a chair, so just, well, you know where it came
No, it
from?
wasn't a chair. It was a voice or something like that.
Well, do you know where it's coming from or feedback?
It seemed to be from my right.
Oh, okay, so again, there are other courtrooms and other lockups, we can't do anything about this noises, I'm sorry, just ignore them. These things on the wall, these are sound panels. So we have as many as we can have, as you see, to absorb all the sound. So we'll just have to do our best to move forward.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
I
repeat your
understand.
question, please.
So my next question is, do you, when you began to have less contact with JT, based on your request, did you think that was a good move for JT? Do you think that may have been detrimental to his progress?
I can't really answer that.
Okay. But based on your position, you thought as far as resources, you needed to have contact with more students. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe it's that's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay,
So I'm the source of the distraction.
all right.
So after you decided to have less time with JT, did you notice any kind of degrade or in his behavior?
Not necessarily, because another plan was put in place to kind of, I won't say replace me, but to try to subside my business.
Describe that go around or that next plan.
But the next plan, from my understanding, was that authoritative figure within his family would be able to come in to assist him and support him in his times process and schedule.
Okay, and so you actually observed that next phase of the plan with JT. Okay, and did that next phase seem to cause improvement with JT's behavior?
As far as I know, once I was alleviated from that, I wasn't so hands-on, but I would say it seemed like he was kind of improving, yes.
Okay. So were there less calls from a teacher or from an administrator for you to respond to JT due to bad behavior?
On my understanding, yes. It was less calls to me, yes.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about January 6th. Did you have contact with JT on January 6th of 2023?
Later in the afternoon, yes.
Okay.
Not like direct contact. I observed him.
Okay. You said not direct contact, but you actually observed him. What? So as a result of hearing information, you decided to go and place your eyes on him. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you placed your eyes on him, was he in the classroom or was that on the playground? Where was he at? In the hallway?
The time I placed my eyes on him, he was in the classroom.
Okay. And when you placed your eyes on him, did his behavior that you observed, did it cause you concern?
No.
Okay. Did he seem like it was JT, his normal behavior? Is that?
Actually, it seemed abnormal behavior. He was way calmer than he normally was.
Oh, okay. So he appeared calm. How long did you observe him?
It was a few minutes. It wasn't long.
Okay. And during that few minutes, JT was doing okay. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it safe to say that you may have had some concerns for JT's safety or anybody else's safety, and that's why you wanted to put your eyes on him? Is that correct?
Well, not at that time. At that time, like I said, it was abnormal for that behavior from being that calm in that setting.
Okay.
But I didn't have any concerns of him.
Okay. So you put eyes on him and you were satisfied that JT was doing well that day. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you, did you have contact with him directly or indirectly after that?
No, I did not.
Okay. So you did not observe any behavior of JT on that day that made you believe that JT presented a threat of danger or harm to any of the students. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I believe through the questioning, it seemed like there may have been an indication that there was some additional feedback that you received. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did that cause you to need to put your eyes on JT again?
The initial feedback that I received had me concerned about what was being said, and that's when I wanted to address it with Dr. Parker and things of that nature. The only other time that I saw JT, and I don't even recall really seeing him particularly, is when I went back in that classroom, and I don't remember actually seeing him at that time.
Okay. Okay. And do you remember the timing of that when you went back into the classroom?
Once again, it had to be between the hours of 12:45 to 1 something,
Okay.
but I don't recall the exact time.
At any time, did you feel like that you needed to step in and pull JT out of the classroom?
Only time that I felt after hearing the feedback that I would receive, and then once again I was, told to hold off on that.
Okay. Did you agree with that decision?
At the time, I felt like it was the decision that was made, and whether I agree with it or not, I was just there to be in support. When I came back to the classroom, I spoke to Ms. Zorner, I told her what was said, and I just told her that I would be there if she needed me.
Okay. When you left Ms. Warner, did you feel like you were leaving her in extreme danger, or the students in extreme danger?
No.
Okay. When you walked away from that class, you were at peace with JT's behavior, what was going on in the classroom. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so when the actual incident occurred, did you immediately think that, oh no, JT has shot somebody?
No. When they went into lockdown, I thought it was a drill originally.
So you were shocked that the incident actually occurred. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Even with the earlier feedback that you received. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You did not think that you needed to take any action to prior to the incident to separate JT from the classroom. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Separate his classmates from him. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You didn't feel like you needed to call the police? Okay. All right. If you believe that there was a gun, do you understand that it was your responsibility to separate JT from the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my responsibility.
Okay.
Definitely it was.
Okay. And it would also have been your responsibility to contact authorities. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. You had been involved in previous incidents when JT was removed from the classroom. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just a couple days before that. Okay. You were involved in that incident.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. You removed him from the classroom?
Yes.
The incident wasn't something that caused danger or harm to his classmates. It was, a cell phone was broken. Is that correct? And that resulted in him being taken to the office. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was just disruptive a little bit, but nothing major.
Okay. So, as a staff member, even on that day, you understood it was your responsibility, if you thought that there was a threat to the students, to remove the threat or the students from that danger. Is that correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Yeah, that's fine. Ronna, can I have a moment?
Yes, you may.
No, that's all.
Thank you. Any brief direct?
Briefly, yes, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Just so that I understand the timeline of events, you testified on cross that you went and put your eyes on JT. Do you know if that was before or after you spoke with the student and it caused you to go to the assistant principal?
No, before.
It's before, okay. Do you know roughly how long before you spoke with that student?
I do not recall.
Okay. Would it have been more than 2 hours?
It was earlier that day.
Okay. And what were the initials of the student that you spoke to?
I don't remember the first initial was R.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions, Judge.
Anything further from the defense for this witness?
Just a moment, Your Honor.
Hello, Mr. Rawls. You just mentioned speaking with a student with the first initial of R. Did you ever tell Dr. Parker what R has said to you?
I believe I mentioned what he had mentioned to me, yes.
You believe you did. Do you know for certain whether you did?
I am certain.
Okay. Would you be surprised if you did not do that?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. No further questions.
Any further from the Commonwealth?
Judge, based on that, I'm going to need a couple of minutes
Okay.
before redirect, I guess.
All right. So we'll take this is a good time for stretch break and after lunch restroom break. So it's 3:25. Let's come back at 3:35. Sir, so you're still under oath, but you can step down and retire to the witness room, and we'll bring you back out, and we'll have the jurors go back to the jury room. Thank you all. 10-minute recess.
Please rise for the jury.
And from what you just recounted, nothing was in the backpack, correct? It had been searched and nothing was there, correct?
That was told to me, yes.
Okay. And at that point, you did not believe there was any credible threat, correct?
Objection asked and answered on recross.
No. I'll withdraw the question, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. All right. anything further for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and the status for Mr. Rawls, may he be excused or does he need to remain?
I'd ask, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'll follow you.
I'd ask that he be released.
Oh, no, we're gonna ask that you be known.
So we're going to ask that he be constructed. I agree to that. We'll ask that he be constructively sequestered, remain available for recall.
Are you, is that suitable to the defense?
Yes.
Okay, and do you all have his phone number?
No, come on, Captain.
Absolutely, I do be happy to facilitate that happening.
Okay, so Mr. Rawls, what that means is you are still a witness. You still have the ability to be recalled. So do not discuss this case, do not discuss your testimony, but you do not have to stay in the courthouse, you do not have to stay in the witness room. You can leave and go about your daily business. You will either get a phone call, 1, to come back to the courtroom, or 2, that the trial is over and that you are no longer a sequestered witness. All right, any questions, sir? All right, thank you. You may step down. Next witness.
Megan DeLeon.